Hey everyone, welcome to a special Q&A video. I finished reviewing the last episode of Season 3 of Are You Afraid of the Dark and decided to take a month off before starting Season 4. So here I am, unshaven, unkempt, and unscripted, for the most part, to answer some of your questions and to do some giveaways. So here's how it's going to work. I have some giveaway stuff for both Are You Afraid of the Dark fans and for fans of the more comic book / Batman type stuff. So I'll give more information about that as we get closer to the end of the video. But for now, let's make with those questions. Alicia Bouchard asks, what inspired you to start doing YouTube videos? This is a very long answer. One that I'm actually going to kind of break up because there's a similar question that sort of relates to this coming up. But this current channel that you're watching right now, what started all this, I had a podcast that just recently ended called the Jack of All Nerds. And that's what, I labeled the channel under and everything like that. And we would post a lot of we would do live streams of the podcast. We were at a local sort of internet radio station called Chaotic Radio where they would live stream stuff. And I would take the footage from that and I would put it up on YouTube. And then we eventually transitioned to another studio, same thing. But that was kind of the start of it. And then one thing that I am pretty passionate about is history. I love history. My problem with history is when history is presented to you, oftentimes it's presented in just a very dull fashion. And history is so interesting. It's funny. It's terrifying. It's sad. It's horrible. It's wonderful. It's all these things. But I feel like it's often presented in a way that just, I remember in school I didn't find history very interesting because my professors didn't really make me want to learn it. I don't know. I had some great teachers in the area of like English and things like that who really got me excited about writing and reading and things like that. But history just, they weren't hitting the mark. So I thought it would be fun to make history videos, but from a presenter who's an idiot. And so adding humor and little sketches in to actual history. So you're still getting presented actual historical information, but with jokes. And I mean, you could say the jokes are good or bad, but that was the idea behind it. And so that's when I actually, for the first time, started making content for this channel, like actual content for this channel was the history video, the brief history of the past, presented by Kaylin Burrows. And then just in the process of doing my podcast, I, got to talk about all these things that I loved as a kid, video games and TV and movies. And I felt very passionate about that kind of stuff. And one day I was watching stuff on Vudu and they had the volumes 1 through 10 of Are You Afraid of the Dark? And I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen this in forever. So I bought them right then and there and started watching them through. And I was like, you know what? I want to talk about this with someone. And that someone just happened to be YouTube. Chelsea F. asks, out of all the characters you play, which one is your favorite? Huh, that's easy.
Oi, what's all this about?
Just answering some fan questions.
Oh, say no more. What you want to know, ladies?
No, you can go.
Hey, you can't just summon me with a snap of your fingers and then send me away just because I'm more popular.
Moving on. So Chelsea's question was actually a two-parter. First part was out of all the characters you play, which is your favorite? And then the second part was, are there any series that you will not cover on your channel? So addressing the first question, yes, Kaylin, hands down, my favorite character. I consider Kaylin like the real me. I don't know if that makes sense. But a long time ago, I used to write plays for, community theaters, local theaters or whatever. And I would do fundraisers for them. And so what I would do is they would have whatever production they were running currently, and I would come in and they would have a set built for that production. I would write a play using the existing set. So I would just come up with a new plot and everything, but using the set that they had there. And then the week after their show closed, I would come in with my troupe of actors and we would put on a one-night, sometimes a two-night show, comedy show, using the existing set. And then we would, pre-sale all the tickets, and then the theater would just get 100% of the profit afterwards. And it didn't cost them anything because obviously they already spent the money on their set for their previous show, and then they were going to just tear this set down anyway, so they just held it up 1 week longer. One of the last shows that I did featured a character named Kalen Burrows, and I played him in the show, and I fell in love with him. I started doing a vlog, like a parody vlog called the Village Bridiot, and not on this channel, on a previous channel that is long defunct. I don't even know if the videos still exist on YouTube anywhere. You can find Village Bridiot videos on this channel. They're more recent ones that I've done, but I haven't done it in quite a long time. I don't know that there was a big audience for it. They were more for me, just because I love playing the character and I love commenting on things as an idiot, as the real me, as it were. And then of course I transitioned him over into doing the history videos. So yes, he is easily my favorite character of any characters that I've played or ever created. So I love a good idiot. The second question, are there any series that you won't do on your channel? And I don't think so. That's a hard question to answer just because there's a lot of series out there. But I don't think that there would be just anything that I would just exclude entirely. I mean, if there was enough demand for it, I would probably cover anything. I mean, even stuff that I don't like, sometimes the things you hate the most can derive the best comedy. So I can't say that anything is entirely off the table, no, but don't quote me on that. Lunar Tofu asks, would you ever consider doing a similar review series for shows like Tales from the Crypt or other anthologies? And the answer to that is a big yes. I mean, I will be getting to the end of Are You Afraid of the Dark pretty soon, and I have to go somewhere from there. I'd like to kind of keep the show, the Midnight Society, because that's what it started as, and then just maybe keep this series in that pocket. So things like Goosebumps or Tales from the Crypt. But I would love to do something like that. I think Tales from the Crypt is a great show. I would have to do some serious editing because the original show aired on HBO and it was the Game of Thrones of its time. Just tits and blood everywhere. So I know there was like a shortened, like a condensed version that they would air on Fox or some network television. It would run late at night, and they were, I think, shortened episodes, and obviously they would cut out a lot of the gratuitous stuff. So I might have to do something like that. But yeah, absolutely. I think Goosebumps is probably the next evolution, just because it's the most similar to this. But yeah, I'm definitely down to keep doing series like this in the future. Okay, this next question is from EC. Now, EC actually asked 3 different questions, and then each question had questions in the questions. So I've split them up, and it very much reminds me of this moment from Back to School.
I have only one question for Mr. Mellon. In 27 parts.
And I'm not trying to throw any shade, EC. I love all your questions. But that's just when I read your first question, that's the first thing that popped into my brain, just because I love that movie. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the first questions in your first question, and then I'll go through each answer for those. So EC asks, how long/hard is it to make a video? How on earth do you do the backgrounds or overlays of stuff? And did you grow up learning this / watching Are You Afraid of the Dark? And are you considering Goosebumps? Well, I think that last question was answered in the previous question. Yes, absolutely. Goosebumps is on the table. And then how long/hard is it to make a video? It depends. It takes some time. So I watch each episode that I review multiple times while writing the script, and then I film the script, and that can take 2 to 3 hours, just depending on... The problem is when I write a script, there's a difference between writing and performing it, and a lot of times while I'm going through the script, I will think of funnier things, or I'll find just massive errors in the script itself, and so I'll be fixing things on the fly. And like I said, and sometimes I just come up with gags on the fly, and sometimes I'll think of a thing that I need a prop for then, and I have to go get, and so that just makes things take longer. But generally 2 to 3 hours to film it, and then I have to do an audio sync because I use a separate recorder from my camera, so I have to audio sync everything, get that done, and then I take generally my minimum requirement is 2 to 3 takes, good takes, before I'll move on. And that's not including all the screw-ups that might happen in between. So then I will go through all the footage and I'll pick the best take of each section, trim it all down, and then I go from a background like this, and then I plug in a background like this. And that's just all using a green screen overlay and good editing software. When I to kind of get into your next question with green screen stuff and overlays, so I did not grow up learning this stuff, and I've never taken any courses on it. I just kind of learned by doing, and it was just something I wanted to do, and I was like, I'm going to do it. I will say the editing process is the longest part of everything. Once I've gotten everything filmed and backgrounds are plugged in, then I have to go through and trim everything down. I have to capture the footage, input the footage, make sure all that's good to go, and then just all the other little bells and whistles that go on. And the editing process itself usually takes a couple of days. So, yeah, I mean, it is a long process, but I thoroughly enjoy it. I really do. So, thanks for your question. Brooke Malone asks, what is your favorite episode of this series? Oh, I knew someone was going to ask a question like this. It's so difficult for me. I mean, there's so many good episodes, and there's so many bad episodes. I don't know that I have like one single favorite episode. And bear in mind that I'm getting now to the point in the series where a lot of these I never saw as a kid. So like I haven't rewatched season 4 in quite a while, and so I'm not familiar. But I do think starting in season 4, I don't think I saw any of those episodes as a kid. I have seen them as an adult, but I don't know that I watched them as a kid, and so I don't know how I have thoughts on them as a kid. I understand your question is for me now, but yeah, it's difficult. It's a difficult question. I will tell you a few of my favorites plural, because I don't think I have just like one single favorite episode. Tale of the Dream Girl, I think, is a really strong episode. It's not scary in any way, but the acting in it is just so strong. I think it's some of the best acting of the entire series. And, it's got that cool twist, the old Shyamalan twist, before it was known as the M. Night Shyamalan twist. So I think it's a really solid ghost story. Tale of the Shiny Red Bicycle, also very good. I think that has some of the same like dramatic elements of Dreamgirl. Like you get some pretty strong acting in that episode as well. And but I would say you get more creepy moments, right? I don't know if anything's like super terrifying, but there are a couple of good gotchas. I mean, when he's in the nurse's office and he sees the ghost outside, and then he turns, and then the nurse is the ghost. Like that, there's some good moments in there. So I think that's a really good episode as well. I always say that I love a good twisted dark ending, so I have to put one of those on here as well. So I'm going to go with Tale of the Dark Music, and trust me, it pains me to give Eric this victory, but that is such a good episode. The way that one ends, up until Eric ruins it, because he does ruin it, but the idea that this seller, this root seller, is like, feed me and I will give you whatever you want. And then the sister's like, you hear the sister's voice nagging, and then he just like gets that look like, yep, I'm gonna feed this bitch to this root seller right now. He's like, ooh, like it just sends the chills up your spine. It's so good. And then, and then Eric's like, no, he didn't kill his sister. He ruins it. He ruins the whole thing, because that's what he does. That's what Eric does. Anyway, so yeah, I don't have any just one specific favorite episode, but those are, I think, 3 really solid episodes that I enjoy. So I hope that sort of answers your question. Rachel Jackson asks, favorite underrated Are You Afraid of the Dark episode? Planning to do a review series on Round the Twist, and favorite music to listen to. I feel like I'm gonna disappoint you on every question here, Rachel, and I apologize. But favorite underrated Are You Afraid of the Dark episode? I don't know what that would be, because so I started after season 1. I started doing the polls to see like where everyone else was coming in on these episodes. And maybe I'm polling in the wrong places because there's like fan sites on like group pages on Facebook, and then I ask people on YouTube. But like most of the time, if I like an episode, everyone else likes that episode. And then the only flip to that coin is there's times where I don't like an episode and everyone else still likes that episode. So I just feel like everyone likes, at least everyone who participates in the polls just likes every episode, which is fair. Like you can, that's fine. But I have to, if nothing else, for the sake of comedy, I have to look at these episodes and just be like, okay, what can I poke fun of, and what's just not good anymore? So yeah, I just don't think there's an underrated episode that I could pick, because I just don't know what that would be in the series. I don't know what episodes are like where the general consensus is like, that's not good. Your second question, planning to do a review series on Round the Twist, and I don't know what that is. So I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah, I'll look into it. I'm never opposed to anything. I mean, it sounds like it might be like an anthology thing, like Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps or something like that. So look, I'll look into it, and nothing is off the table. I think we've established that from a previous question. Okay, so there you go. And then favorite music to listen to. And again, this is going to sound like a cop-out, but I'm not. I'm honestly not trying to cop out on this question, but I listen to everything. And what I mean by that is that if I hear a song that I like, I don't care who the band is necessarily. I will just buy that song. Sometimes I will buy an album and then find out that that's the only song from that group that I like. And trust me, I've been burned before. But like I just, like, if you were to look at my playlist on my phone, you'd be like, who is this insane person? Because, I mean, there's just everything. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. You know what I mean? It goes from Garth Brooks to DMX to the Jonas Brothers to the Spice Girls to Boyz II Men to, Rick Astley to Belle Biv DeVoe. It's wacky. It runs the gambit. I get show tunes on there. I got Hamilton on there. I've got music from Newsies. Like, it's crazy. I've got Nickelback, okay? And I know, right? You're not supposed to like Nickelback because everyone out there is like, Nickelback sucks. But someone's paying for their albums, and I guess I'm one of them. But like, yeah, if I hear a song, I get it, Anyway. Sorry to fail you on a third question. Thank you, Rachel. Patrick Temple TV asks, which episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark is your favorite? Favorite Are You Afraid of the Dark storyteller, and least favorite episode. Patrick also says, thank you, love the channel, found you on the Retro Nick subreddit. Well, hey, no, thank you, Patrick. I love hearing that people enjoy the videos that I make, so thank you for the ego stroke. To get to your questions. So the first question obviously was was answered in a previous question. Favorite Are You Afraid of the Dark storyteller? Great question. No question, it's Betty Ann for me. So she hasn't, crushed it on every story, but I enjoy most of the stories that she tells. And it didn't hurt that when I was a young lad watching this series, I had a crush on Betty Ann. So yeah, that hasn't hurt anything. So there you go. Let's see, least favorite episode. That's a good question. And I've got two for you. And both of these offended me in different ways. And if you watch the reviews of them, you know they got me heated. So here we go. First up, Tale of the Dark Dragon. I hate this episode, and I hate the message that it presents. And keep in mind, this is my own personal view of the message of that tale. I've had people comment on the video that what they read into what the Dark Dragon is was different. Some people thought it was like drugs, and some people thought it was other things. So, it's in the eye of the beholder, right? It's how you read into the episode personally. Now, for me, what I saw was not any of those things. I just saw that this person has a disability and wants to be one of the beautiful people and doesn't want that disability, and so he makes this wish and it goes away, but then it gets worse, but then all he has to do is cry a tear onto this girl who also, like, he ignores the whole thing until she does something just totally self-destructive to get his attention. It's just, it's awful. It's awful on all fronts. She is so much better than him. Like, she deserves better. But then at the end of the episode, there's no catharsis. There's no, like, he just learns to accept his disability and you know, move on with his life and just try to be as happy as he can be with that and learn to live with it. No, he gets everything that he ever wanted with very little, like, struggle. He just cries a little tear, and then boom, magic. Legs fixed, looking good. She's looking good. They get to go off and, you know, have underage sex and make good-looking babies. Like, I don't know. I just hate the message of the episode. So I can't get behind it. So that's one of them. The other one is The Tale of the Dream Machine, which it's just so problematic by today's standards. Like, the idea that he knows that this typewriter makes the things he types come true in dreams, right? Before he knows that, like, if it gets read, it actually happens. But just that while he's typing it, he knows that it forces a dream. So he intentionally writes this story where the girl that he likes has a dream about him in the clouds and they kiss, which means he typed that they kissed. And sure, she enjoyed it. Or did she? Or did he type that she did? You decide, okay? But anyway, it's all problems, right? And then the characterization of this fucking teacher just drives me up a wall, okay? I mean, I used to be, as a kid, I was a much heavier individual. And I find the characterization of this person just so offensive. I've never met anyone that is just constantly shoveling pastry, like, especially a teacher. Like, I've never met a teacher who's just, like, chowing down in front of kids. But then not only that, just chowing down in front of kids. When the kids are gone, when she's on the exercise bike, when she's in the toilet, get f***ed. I hope that answers your question. Michael Perez asks, who's your favorite Are You Afraid of the Dark villain and or monster? Which episode do you find the funniest? And most importantly, Sardo or Vink? Oh, trying to start a fight, are we? Okay. Favorite Are You Afraid of the Dark villain and or monster? Favorite monster has to be the pool creature from The Tale of the Dead Man's Float, if for no other reason than that thing is terrifying. Probably the scariest creation across the entire series, maybe even in the new stuff too, and they have a much higher budget. Yeah, that thing is just, Nah, that thing could pass in any modern adult horror movie and still work. That thing was terrifying. And then, favorite Are You Afraid of the Dark villain? This is going to be a controversial pick, okay? But it's Aunt Maylene from The Tale of the Frozen Ghost, and there is no convincing me that she is not a psychopathic serial killer, okay? I saw the needlepoint, all right? She's needlepointing a bloody axe, okay? There's something wrong with that lady. Her and her sister both, they murder people, they murder hobos, and they bury them on the farm. There's no convincing me otherwise, okay? Which episode do I find the funniest? This has got to be Tale of the Final Wish, and I doubt that is what they were going for. But Bobcat Goldthwait was just so miscast in that episode. He's like, I feel like the Sandman could have been, like, scary or at least intimidating in some way, but he's just bobcatting all over the place, and he honestly gives me just, like, Stranger Danger vibes, and not in a scary way, and just like this guy's Uncle Touchy. I don't like it. I don't like it. But I guess just his presentation is so over the top that it's funny, I guess. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. And then Sardo or Vink? No argument. It's Sardo, baby. That's right. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Aaron Tager, and I love what he brings to the role of Vink. Like, he does so much with that. But I'm a sucker for an idiot. And Sardo is one of the biggest idiots around. And I love that he's the constant salesperson as well. He just gets me, you know? So, yeah, it's Sardo all the way. Jay Booth asks, which member told the most stories and who was the most surprising before they were famous star to show up in the series? Who told the most stories? You're going to make me look stuff up right now. Okay, I've done it. All right, it was my favorite storyteller. It was Betty Ann with 12 Tales, I'm pretty sure. Now, the main reason for that being, there was only 3 cast members that made it through the entire original run of the show before they did the first reboot with Tucker and his crew. And that was Betty Ann, Gary, and Kiki. And so I'm pretty sure Betty Ann told 12 tales, and Gary and Kiki, I think, told around 10. So, yeah, there you go. And then who was the most surprising before they were famous star? So for me, it's Ryan Gosling. Now, look, there's plenty of other people that it's like, you're like, oh, hey, whoa. But for me, it's just, the reason it's so surprising is because, like, it was quite some time. I watched the show when I was a kid, and then as an adult, I got reacquainted with it, and then I started doing the review series for it. But in between then, I had seen Ryan Gosling as an adult actor, and he's very serious as an adult actor, like very serious. And then a few years before I got reacquainted with Are You Afraid of the Dark, I got acquainted with a little show called Young Hercules, which was also starring Ryan Gosling. Not quite as young, obviously, as the Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark stuff. But still, like, it was like seeing him in that, I was like, wait, he knows how to smile? Like, where did that come from? And then coming back and then finding out that he was in Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark both. And you're just like, what? So, for me, that is the most surprising. Ripster87 has a paragraph, so let me get into it and then I'll answer the questions. Ripster says, I grew up watching Are You Afraid of the Dark, but stopped at season 5. I've seen a handful of episodes after that. Would it be worth hunting down the last couple of seasons? Ripster says, I've got the first 5 seasons on DVD, and I put on a disc and just let it play in the background at least twice a month. It's like a warm blanket. Ripster's also curious if I'm into physical media and what are my other favorite classic Nickelodeon shows. And then Ripster also says, great job on your videos. Thank you, Ripster. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be a lot of help here on your first question. So I also have not seen after season 5. So unfortunately, I can't tell you if they're worth it. If somebody who has seen those seasons has that answer, like, slap it in the comments. Let Ripster87 know if it's worth it to check those out or not. So let's see. Am I into physical media? I used to be a lot. I had one of the just largest videotape collections ever. And then DVDs became a thing, and so I had to trade out all my videotapes and get a bunch of DVDs, and then Blu-rays started to become a thing, so then I had to start replacing the DVDs with the Blu-rays, and even now I still have a mix of both, a massive collection of both. Let's see, classic Nickelodeon favorites. Oh my goodness, there's so many. There's so many. Classic Nick. If I could just find something that just streamed Classic Nick 24/7, I think I would never watch anything else. I just love it all. Double Dare, Nick Arcade, Legend of the Hidden Temple. You can't do that on television. Salute Your Shorts. Hey Dude. Are You Afraid of the Dark? I mean, and that's just, that's not even scratching the surface. Classic Nick. I loved it. I love it. It's so hard. It's, this should just be a Nickelodeon channel, to be fair, but I appreciate many other things outside of Nickelodeon too that have that nostalgia factor. So there you go. Hope that answers all your questions. Oh, we have a Batman question. Dylan Pollock asks, which puppet is your favorite to use? Well, it's difficult to answer.
Possibly shut your mouth. Shut up. It's definitely me.
Guys, it's the Scarecrow.
Jerk! I knew it!
Ugh, I hate getting left out of the green screen bits.
Okay, Dylan, let me explain my previous answer, and then I'll address your other questions as well. So, I say Scarecrow is my favorite. Joker would be my favorite, but the problem with Joker is the green hair. It's made that puppet just impossible to use in front of a green screen, and I've tried everything. I've tried a blue screen, and then his suit disappears. And then I've even tried better software. I've paid hundreds of dollars to use After Effects, Adobe Premiere Pro. I've tried everything, and nothing works. Part of it is that he has wispy hair, so even when those programs are doing what they're supposed to be doing, the wispiness of his hair it just makes it impossible. So, I can't use him in a lot of stuff with the other puppets. I could have them appear in his screen because, but then they all have to appear on that curtainy background that I use. I've considered getting like a new puppet that has like more animated series style hair, like black with like that comes to a point, so it's like a solid piece of hair with maybe like a dark green stripe in it that wouldn't go away with this. But at the same time, like the Joker was my first puppet, and I would feel bad just like tossing it aside to get something shiny and new to work with the green screen. So I'll just continue working with him the way he is. I do have like a little purple hat to put on him to hopefully cover up his green hair so that I can use him in certain videos and just say like he's incognito or something. You know how Joker is. It doesn't have to make sense. So he would be my favorite, but alas, it is Scarecrow. Video I'm most proud of. So it's not even one of my review videos. I love everything that I've done in those videos with the puppets and, continuing to move forward, maybe getting some more puppets in there. I don't know. But yeah, I love everything that I've done. But the video I'm most proud of so far isn't even for one of those review videos. So I made a video that wasn't for YouTube originally. It's up there now. It's part of the Batman Shorts video that I posted. And I took some footage of the dating game, and I cut out the suitors, and I put in Batman, Scarecrow, and Bane in that footage. And so she's asking them questions, and I have them give their answers. And I just, like the editing that I did on that, aging up the footage and like taking the audio and adding the little hiss that was in the original video, creating the little game show channel stamp for the corner and everything. Like it looks pretty seamless, and I'm pretty proud of that. Let's see. Favorite Batman the Animated Series episode. This is just like the Are You Afraid of the Dark question all over again. It's hard to pick a favorite because there's so many good episodes. I mean, any episode with the Joker, I love. Mark Hamill is the Joker for me. Other people have done some good work, but no one does it better than Mark Hamill. And then, of course, Kevin Conroy, who just recently passed away, and that's, a tremendous loss. I mean, Michael Keaton is my live-action Batman, but Kevin Conroy, he's just Batman for everything else. Like, he was so good, and he just, like, his Bruce and his Batman were just pitch perfect. And I think one of the episodes that displays that really well is, I believe it's called Nothing to Fear. I think that's the title of it. And it's basically the first appearance of the Scarecrow. And in that episode, when he gets hit with the fear toxin, you get to see the haunting that he has from his parents, like thinking that they think he's a failure and all this stuff. So some really dramatic stuff. And he does great, with the voice acting in that episode. And then when he actually overcomes the fear, we get that classic line that they used in all the promotional stuff. The I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman. It's so good. It's just goosebumps, So I'll say that's my favorite episode. Will you ever do any other DCAU videos like Justice League or Batman Beyond? The answer is yes. I own all of Batman Beyond, and the plan is to go when I finish up Batman the Animated Series, which Batman the Animated Series also includes like the new adventures of Batman and Robin, I think is the name of it. And where all the way through where the animation style changed and got weird. So all of that first, then we'll get into Batman Beyond. And then from there, I don't know. Maybe Justice League. But yeah, I'm not commissioning like a Superman puppet to do Superman the Animated Series. Probably. Anyway, so hope that answers your questions. All right, we got another paragraph, this time from Josh Gordon, who asks, do you have kids of your own? Or if not, would you show them the classics from your childhood? Did you ever get to visit Nick Studios at Universal? For classic 90s Nick, what was your favorite of each? Cartoon, game show, and live action besides Are You Afraid of the Dark? Personally, for me, I would say Legends of the Hidden Temple, Rugrats, and Salute Your Shorts. Those are great picks, Josh. Solid all around. So to answer your first question, no, I do not have kids of my own. If I did, hell yes, I would show them the classics from my childhood. That stuff's awesome. Why wouldn't I? Gotta raise them right. But no, I don't, and I probably never will. But let's see. Did you ever get to visit Nick Studios at Universal? I did not. It's one of my biggest regrets in life. I never got out to Universal Studios Florida until I was well into adulthood, and by that time Nick Studios was long extinct. And it saddens me a little bit. I would have loved to have just seen it, just been up close to touch it, smell it, lick it, get slimed. You know what I mean? But sadly I did not. Let's see. Favorite of each. Cartoon, game show, live action from 90s Nick. Cartoon has to be Ren and Stimpy. Was it a little tasteless? Sure. But I loved it. Let's see. Game show. Bro. Double Dare. All the way. I don't even care which one. Just original recipe. Super sloppy. Family Double Dare. I'll take any of them. I loved it, except for Double Dare 2000. You know, I watched the reboot, the 2018-2019 version with Liza Koshy, but they got Mark Summers. They had Mark Summers, and that was a big factor in why I tuned in. So, and then live action. Aside from Are You Afraid of the Dark, I gotta go with Hey Dude. I do. I'm surprised I haven't covered it yet in Mike's Little Lookbacks, but it will someday soon. But for me, they're both kind of neck and neck. Salute Your Shorts and Hey Dude, they're very similar shows. I mean, you know, one's a summer camp and the other one's a dude ranch where people go to like vacation. So, you know, very similar, but Hey Dude got to stick around longer, so that's why it slightly edges it out in my estimation. So, thank you. Great questions. Patrick Ducart says, I really like and constantly rewatch your Are You Afraid of the Dark series. I know you watched Saved by the Bell. How about it? A Saved by the Bell retrospective would be amazing. And first off, thank you for constantly rewatching my videos. I appreciate the views. And you said you really liked them too, so that's good. I thought you don't like them, but you enjoy torturing yourself. But you said you liked them, so that's even better. And Yes, I watched Saved by the Bell. I love Saved by the Bell. It was one of my favorite shows growing up. I didn't lead off with that because right here, I use Zach's bedroom as my backdrop for my Mike's Little Lookback videos. But I didn't do that on the first episode because I just thought it was a little too on the nose to be using Zach's bedroom and then also do Saved by the Bell for the first episode. So don't worry, it is coming. I will be doing one. So thank you. All right, we are at the final question. This is another one from EC, another question from EC in 27 parts. So this one is also, how is the channel geared? 90s stuff, scary kids shows. Have you ever thought about the old show Wishbone, or is it Nickelodeon only, or a certain time period? So to answer that question, it's complicated. It's not, I would say it is definitely nostalgia geared, but I'm not opposed to stuff from any time period. I mean, Wishbone was my jam. That's probably my favorite PBS show of all time. I love that little dog. So, you know, I'm open to that. Anything from like my childhood, or, you know, even in the Mike's Little Lookback videos, I posted up there. If you want to see something reviewed, post in the comments and I will try to get to it. Long story short, I'm not limiting myself to anything. I love a lot of stuff. I know later in your post you mentioned things like Beetleborgs and the Knights of Tir na Nog. You know, I have seen Beetleborgs. Can't say I love it, but I was a Power Rangers guy, and even like VR Troopers. So, but I definitely outgrew that stuff by the time Beetleborgs came along. But yeah, I'm open to anything. You know, if somebody wants to see something, all they got to do is drop it in the comments on one of my Mike's Little Lookback videos, and I'll look into it. You know, recently I had someone request Kids Incorporated, and that's happening. That is definitely happening. It reminded me. I used to watch that show, but haven't even thought about it in forever. But now I have. And so you will eventually be seeing a retrospective on it. So there you go. Anyway, EC, thank you for all your questions. I hope I've answered them sufficiently. Woo! Okay, I want to thank everyone for all your questions. I apologize if this video is like super long. I feel like I was just so long-winded on every answer. So I apologize. But again, I haven't left the house in like 3 years, so this is like the most interaction I've had with people, and I'm not even interacting with people, so it's a cry for help. Anyway, it's time for what you've all been waiting for. Probably the giveaway stuff. That's right. So here's what's going to happen. I've tried to do YouTube giveaways before, like by people commenting on stuff, and it's never worked out. Like every time I reach out to someone via the comments to let them know they've won the prize, like they never respond back, which I don't understand. Do you want to win stuff or not? Like you commented to enter, but then you never respond to get your contact information so I can send you your prize. So here's what's going to happen. I have a website, jackofallnerdshow.com. There's going to be a link in the description, so you can just head on over there. The entry form will be on the front page, so you don't have to go navigate to anywhere. Just fill out the form. All you need to do is your name, email address, and then you just have to put which fandom is yours, because if you're Are You Afraid of the Dark or Batman, because I'm going to do 2 giveaways. So there'll be 2 separate prize pools. And just make sure before you go entering that just know that I will only be shipping to the United States. Maybe Canada? Maybe Canada. I don't know. I may have some Canadian viewers just because of Are You Afraid of the Dark? So, yeah, sure. Let's say Canada as well. United States and Canada. I've never shipped anything to Canada, but we'll say that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so that's all you got to do to be entered to win. I will run the entry period for 1 week from the date that this video is posted, and here's what you can win. So obviously I have a Midnight Society hat. It's not exactly this hat. Now forgive me, this is not a new hat. This is the hat that I wear on a daily basis, so it's a little rough and ready. But this is the one, so you can see like the logo is much bigger on this one. But this is the style hat that will be in the giveaway. It's a fitted hat because that's the only way I roll. And it's an embroidered logo, and the size on this bad boy is small/medium. So that fits most heads. And then I also have a shirt with an embroidered logo on it as well. Unfortunately, all that stuff is in storage, which is why I don't have a new hat to show you or a shirt. So, but that's going to be there. And then for you comic book nerds, I don't have anything Batman specific. I actually do have a really kick-ass Batman the Animated Series statue of Batman, but I said way back in the day that I was reserving that giveaway for when the channel hits 2,000 subscribers, which we're close. We are within like 300, I think. So we're very close to that giveaway. But here's what I'm going to do for you instead, because if you like my Batman videos, you probably like the jokes that I put in with the puppets. So I used to write a comic strip called The Dark Crusader, which was a parody of sort of Batman and Superman. And so I have 3 books from my comic strip. They're pretty thick, full color of all the comic strips. There was actually 5 seasons in total, but I only have books for 3 of them so far. So you'll get 3 copies of this, you'll get 1 copy of each season. And then the big prize, the other thing that I created, I'm also big into creating games and stuff like that. So I created a card game based off of The Dark Crusader. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see this stuff on here, but just to give you an example, like this is not shoddy workmanship here. This is these are full color cards on all this stuff. Like this is probably awful trying to show you these on camera, but like this is quality stuff. I put a lot of time and money into the artwork for all these. The artist who did my comic strip did all the artwork for the cards and everything like that. Jimmy Purcell, who does just amazing stuff. So you'll get a copy of this card game and those 3 books, which I think is a good deal. I think the comic strip is very funny. It's a parody of superhero stuff. If it's not your thing, I guess you'll just throw it away. But there you go. So just enter whichever fandom you want on the website, and yeah, and then I'll do a little announcement. I'm going to basically do a random drawing of all the entrants for each one, and then I will make that announcement. And if there's enough entries, I might even do multiple drawings, because I know I have more than one hat and more than one shirt. And I actually have multiples of the books in the games too, so just depending on how many people get entered for each one, we'll see. It might be 1 or 2 giveaways per side. So there you go. Woo! We've done it. We've gotten through it. Thank you all again for submitting your questions. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun answering these questions, and I feel like I've gotten to know some of you more, and I feel like you've gotten to know me some more, and you know, hopefully that hasn't driven you away. So real quickly, on a kind of serious note, and this, I hope this is not going to affect future videos, but just recently I got some pretty bad news. In fact, it's sort of affecting the ability to just even film this video, but I'm having an issue with my right eye, where there's like a retinal tear or something like that. It's not good, and I'm going to be starting treatments. I'm also having issues with the other eye, but they're not as severe, so I'm going to be starting treatment soon. I don't know how that stuff is going to affect me. I've had pretty significant deterioration of vision in this eye. But I just want to be upfront with you guys, because if this affects my ability to make video, like, I'm still going to make videos. Don't think that I'm not. As long as I can see out of one eye, I will make videos, even if I eventually have to wear a patch. Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that. But I will make videos, but I just want you guys to know that I might be slower at it than usual, just depending on what these treatments do to me and stuff like that. So I'll know more as it goes, and you know, I'll try to keep everyone posted. I don't like to get too into detail on my own personal but this is something that actually affects the channel, so I felt like you all have the right to know. So anyway, thank you all again so much. I love you all, and we'll see you on the next video.
Hey, watch it, man.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and a share. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon to be notified when more videos from this channel go up. Thanks, everybody.